Guess what, you guys? I'm back. Had a few of you guys reach out wondering where the heck I've been with the podcast the last 6 months. Well, on February 2nd, 2022, we had our baby boy welcomed into this world. And since that day, that little man has been mixing it up. We've learned a lot of lessons, a lot of growth happening, sleepless nights. So in this episode, we're going to break that down and more. But guess what, you guys? I'm back. Let's go. I'm Adam Kadu, and it's time to master the art of real heart alignment, where you live, work, and play from your personal power as energy aligns, your gifts flow, and life simply works. These life-changing conversations are designed to help you to see what you're not seeing, hear what you're not hearing, and to be who you're not being, as the world needs more heart-centered leaders now more than ever. Are you ready to say no to living a half-hearted life and say yes instead to boldly living from a place of real heart alignment? Welcome to the Adam Kadu podcast. Yo. Welcome back. For the first time in like 5, 6, 7 months to the Adam Kadu podcast. Now, if you have been an active listener of the Adam Kadu podcast, you might have missed me. I've missed you guys. So I'm glad to announce from today forward, I am back. So in this episode, I'm going to catch you up a little bit on just what has transpired in the last, 6, 7 months of my life since the last episode. I'm going to fill you in on what I'm excited about today and also what the future looks like ahead. Because what I'm starting to realize more than anything is it's in so much of how we see the future is what we're creating in this moment. So for my entrepreneur friends or, just anybody listening, when you start to think about your future and you have worries, if you have doubts, if you have limitations, if you have fears that are running the show, I promise you, take a close look. You are acting in accordance to that future. It's literally you are creating it from this moment. And if you really get micro with it, you'll start to see how much truth is in that statement. So in this episode, we're going to catch up a little bit. We're going to hang out, catch up, and get ready to blaze a trail ahead because I'm on fire. I'm inspired. I'm ready to go. But the last 6, 7 months have been challenging to say the least. So on, February 22nd of 2022, so that is 2/22/22, our little man, Mr. Jax Orion Kadu, was brought into this world. Yes, he's a 2/22/22 baby. Roll the dice, deuces. Pretty cool. And so off the bat, he was doing well, sleeping well. He kind of had this rash on his face, and there was times that he was just like extremely upset and, just not really liking his existence in those moments. And very quickly, we found out that he had some very serious food sensitivities. While we were in the hospital, they had read some stuff in his blood work where they really were wanting to be very cautious. And so they doped him up with some antibiotics. And if you guys know about antibiotics, it's going to, create an environment that kills off bad bacteria in your microbiome in your stomach. However, it also kills off good bacteria. And so he came into this world essentially wiping the slate clean and almost being in a negative state when it comes to his gut health. And yet again, anybody who knows anything about gut health, that is where your immune system is. Like that's the stem of it. That's the root of it, is in our gut. In our gut, we have these gut instincts. Our gut is essentially our second mind. Some will argue to say it's our first mind. But regardless, little man from the very get-go was having trouble with his stomach. And so the wifey, little by little, inch by inch, she's taking out all these foods. Gluten was just firing him up. Like if she would eat gluten, there was even a time where she was gluten-free for a month and things were going well. And she found out that she had a gluten slip and it fired him up. Wasn't sleeping well, just screaming. And I'm telling you, this little man, he's got some lungs. He can scream, he'll shake you to your core a little bit. And so she had to remove dairy and other products, certain oils, vegetable oils, corn oils were triggering the little man as well. Also, he ended up having a tongue tie. And so we had to be very mindful of that and decided to have it looked into. And it was crazy because, my wife and I, we work well together for the most parts, but sometimes we're just off. I think any relationship you can relate to that. And so she wanted to have Jack see an ear, nose, and throat specialist. And for me, I'm like, okay, they focus on ears. Got it. They focus on the throat. Got it. And the nose, ear, nose, and throat. Okay. What about tongue ties? Or is that something that they focus on? They didn't say mouth. They said throat, nose, ears. And for whatever reason, my whole entire being was saying, no, let's not do this. This isn't the right play. And I was convinced at the time, and I think it was just a way to put kind of like a stall tactic inside of our conversations. I was convinced at the time that he didn't have a tongue tie. There became a point in time where I was like, okay, maybe he does. And I started seeing that I put a stop to just rushing in and getting him, clipped and things of that nature. And we ended up working with a lactation consultant. And this lady, she blew us away. And I apologize, I'll say in advance, that was probably the loudest motorcycle that's drove by. Like, I have a new office, y'all. If you've been following my vlogs on YouTube, if you've been seeing me on Instagram stories, I have a new office. This is a side note. Wait, hold on real quick. And so we haven't had, great internet in here. So I haven't been able to record podcasts outside of my home. And I've got fussy kids at home. And also I didn't want to record at night because, I did not want to risk waking them up because both of them, sleep has been a rare commodity the last 7 months, to say the least. If Jax is sleeping well, my 2.5-month Bentley, he's teething. He wakes up screaming throughout the night and has some meltdowns every once in a while through the night. So it's just like, I do not want to wake them guys up. I was not about to, record a podcast in the environment where I feel like I have to talk a little quiet and not wake anybody up. Anyways, back to the story. So with the ear, nose, and throat specialist, I said hard no to it. There was something in my being that was saying no. I shut it down. And so my wife, started looking around different options, and we wanted to look into some of Jax's food sensitivities. And like I said, we met this lady online by the name of Julie. Julie gave us so much guidance, so much information, and she even made sure we were well taken care of when it came time to do Jax's tongue. And also he had a lip tie as well. So we had surgery on both of those. And a beautiful thing, we working with Julie, she really helped my wife PJ just to remove things from her diet and to focus on, what's working well, what isn't working well. But she had us doing certain exercises with Jax to basically get him ready for surgery. And then after the surgery, we were doing certain exercises to make sure it didn't reattach, and also just making sure that we were kind of stretching out the tightness in his mouth. If you have tightness in a certain area in your body, you're going to have tightness elsewhere. So she was having us even do like back massages and stretches and all this stuff just to free the guy up because he was so cramped, because essentially like so much tension was in his mouth. And yet again, it's just like tension in the mouth. Excuse me, alarm clock. Tension in the mouth will lead to tension in the neck, in the jaws, in your back, in your lower back, in your body. And dude was tense. And so we've had a huge journey of just, doing his stretches each and every day and just making sure that he's well taken care of. But there was a beautiful thing that happened. We ended up having, the tongue tie removed. And this was like a spiritual moment for me. So my wife, she goes into the soundproof bathroom. She's like, I don't want to hear it. I just can't. And I'm like, you know what? I want to be close. And they wouldn't let us go back there. When I'm in the hospital with my kids, like anytime, if they have anything done, any, shots or blood tests or whatever, I'm right there with them because I want to make sure that they know they're safe, because even those little traumatic moments, they add up, right? And so I was close as I could be to the door, to the surgery room when little man Jax was having his tongue tie and his lip tie removed. And, he was obviously frantic. It's like they had to put some patches over his eyes. He was scared. And I was just sending him love the whole time. I was talking to him, telepathically. I'm with you, buddy. You're fine. And there was this beautiful moment where he was crying and screaming. And all of a sudden his cry went from like a 6 to a off the charts 15 on a scale of 10. And it was a beautiful moment for me because I saw into his future and saw how much opening up his, his airways and his lip and tongue tie freed him to be able to basically yet again open up, to share fully. And I saw so much of his future because he was able to finally be free from these restrictions and limitations. And I got so freaking emotional in that moment. But I'm telling you guys, the last 6-7 months, Jax is now 7 months old. It's been challenging with the food sensitivities, with the sleepless nights. He was sleeping really good for a while, and then he went on stretches that literally he's up every hour. And I'm basically the one who's wrestling the guy back to sleep because mom, has the belief that she has to feed him back to sleep. And we didn't really want to feed him back to sleep in those instances because we were trying to get him sleeping through the night. But, his belly'd be upset, he'd have gas, and he, just frustrated. But regardless, we're in a good place today. We've progressed tremendously. And we have challenging path ahead. We have a nanny who's been with us for 2 years. In this moment right now, she is, she's moving. She met somebody and is transitioning to go to somewhere else. She had, been married here and her marriage dissolved and things of that nature. So she's moving on. And so right now we're in the midst of finding a new nanny. I have a launch coming up in, starting in 3 weeks. It's going to be basically the whole month of October. My wife is going to have endometriosis surgery in November. She's been going through it with that. So between the nanny stuff, between my wife not feeling great, between Jax not feeling great, between Bentley teething and kind of being sensitive and all over the place, and obviously getting used to sharing this world with a little brother, it's been a lot. No sugarcoating about it. It's been a lot. There's been times where I, was really into my emotions, and there was times where I was really into my self-importance because I would wake up at night and I'm like, why won't these kids let me sleep? Why can't I work? I would get up to work literally early in the morning. I'm like, oh, here we go. I got a quiet morning. And I'd literally get on my laptop and then crying. Shoo, shake your tail feather and go help the kids out. But I was putting so much importance on, just kind of being a victim to all this. It's like, why can't I do this? Why can't I do this? And it really just, even the work that I do with other people, it's like I help them to see where they're, checking out where they are being a victim to life or business. And for me, it was like, I just had this aha moment. It's like, look, and I was questioning, I was just like, am I supposed to slow down, like really slow down right now? But at the end of the day, it was a quick pause because there's so much over the last 7 months. It's almost like you get a kink in the hose, right? You get a kink in the hose. You got to pause for one reason or the next. And that's why, sometimes you go on a vacation and afterwards you're like blazing the trail. I'm ready to go. Let's light the world on fire. And so I had a kink in my hose. And getting my new office, and it took a month to get good enough internet. And now I got my studio getting set back up in here. And so that kink is untangled, and now I'm unleashing. I've been doing more TikTok videos. I've been doing more, Instagram reels. I've been just focusing on sharing from my heart. And that's something that I teach, my students, my clients, others. That's a big part of the work I do. Because we can get so ingrained in the strategies. We can get so ingrained in life and the circumstances. We can get so ingrained in trying to fit a model that worked well for our mentors years ago that for one reason or the next isn't working well for us. We can get so ingrained in, setting up our business and, learning all the things that there is to learn that we're not really showing up. We're just dancing around. We're almost kind of like circling the wagon. We're skating around a little bit. And I was definitely doing some of that. And it was like, I am the type of person, I'm a sequential thinker. I like to see things in sequence. And I like to be able to have time. If you give me an hour time, like literally, like it's hard for me to just get in a groove and to get focused and to get going. It's just like, I just start going, and I got to stop. So it's like to have things going on in my environment where the wife is checking in and needing help with certain stuff. I have a huge heart. I put my family first, and I'm glad I'm able to do that. I've had so much joy and fulfillment with, Bentley. He's just at such a fun age. Literally, I just posted a video on Instagram where he was jumping off this big slide and I was catching him and just having a beautiful experience together. But at the end of the day, sometimes life will throw you curveballs. And, there's a saying that says, life doesn't test you, it reflects you. But essentially, if you look at it, it's one and the same. Because if you're acting a certain way, then you're giving the universe an opportunity to show you, hey, there's something here that you're not seeing. So it's giving you an opportunity, a test, if you will, to do it right. To do it in a way that feels aligned to you. So, me in these podcasts, you guys, I want to ask you the question too. It's just like, where are you having resistance in your life? Where are you swimming up current? Where in all reality, you should be aligning with that current and letting it take you to where you're in flow, you're going, you're in alignment, you're helping more people, whatever that looks like, you're doing your work. And so I'm back, you guys. I'm back. I'm excited. Hopefully you guys are excited as much as I am because I bring it on these episodes. That's obviously one reason that I wasn't doing as many podcasts over this last 6 months because, my hands were a little full. And I do not, and I will not bring you half-hearted episodes. I will not just fill some content just to say I got something out this week. It's not in my heart. But it is time to get back to it. Time to get back on the saddle. Time to ride a little bit more. All right, I'm going to leave it at that today. I'm going to leave it at that. I might fill in some more, in between the stories a little bit. And also, like I said, I will definitely be sharing what's ahead in the near future because I've got some trainings coming up. I've got some, my live launch coming up. Got a lot of good things. I'm doing my vlog. I love my vlog. If you guys haven't gone over to YouTube yet and checked that out, search my name over on YouTube, find my vlog, subscribe, drop me a comment, watch some of that. You're going to get to see me just behind the scenes running a business, sharing lessons that I've learned. I'm always going to take gold gems and share them with you. And also you get to see some cute little kids messing around and playing around, having a lot of fun over here. So, all right, guys, much love to you. If there's anything on your heart, on your mind right now, I'm always an open book. I always love to hear from you. So send me a message over on Instagram. Also, if you haven't done so yet, being I'm back in action, let's get this podcast rocking again. I would love your help and support. There goes my alarm again. I got to run. We got to interview another nanny here in 20 minutes. I would love your support. If you head over to iTunes and leave a rating and review, I would greatly appreciate it. Send me a screenshot if you do, because we'll start doing some giveaways again. Some books and some gift cards and some free coaching and all this stuff. So we're going to start giving some stuff away, having some fun again on the podcast. And so thank you for bearing with me. If you know somebody that's going through tough times with kids and business and all of that nature, and you feel that this episode can find them well, please share. It would mean the world to me. All right, you guys. Go help somebody today. Lead with love. Trust yourself. The energy and how you feel is showing you everything you need to know. With the resistance, there's something that you're not seeing. Is it the fear of the future? Is it the thoughts about the future that's causing the resistance? Because obviously you don't want to take action when you think that your launch is going to fail. You don't want to take action when you think people are not going to buy. They're going to say no and reject you. So start to see the future as the ideal future. And just see, try it on. If you show up differently, when you really hold that vision close to you. Because I'm seeing it clearly now. It's time to go. But lack of sleep, that'll mess with somebody. So I definitely was in my head a little bit. I definitely was, getting into my self-importance and letting my ego run the show a little bit. But I'm grounded now. Taking care of myself, doing my practices each and every day, getting back to my practices with heart-centered alignment. So I'll be sharing a little bit more about those practices as well. So, okay, you guys. Love you so much. Thank you for being here. Much love. Talk soon. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Adam Kadu podcast. If you would, take a moment to subscribe and click the bell icon so that way you get notified when future episodes air. Now, here's the thing. If you are looking for the show notes, you can find a link to those below. If you're looking for the handles of the guests that I've been interviewing, things of that nature, you'll find that here. And if there's anything else that stood out to you in the episode, or if there's anything I can do for you, please leave a comment below, or for sure message me on Instagram if you'd like, as I'm always looking to hear what's working well for you and what caught your interest about the Adam Cadu podcast. So, time to go, time to change the world, time to help more people. Are you ready? Let's go do this thing. The world needs more leaders. So thanks again for listening to the Adam Cadu podcast.